thank you. On the show tonight, the star of Cold Feet, about to return to our screens in a new series of Murphy's Law. It's the ever-popular James Nesbitt. Talk and song from a man as articulate as he is musical, Mr. Mick Hucknall. And there's more music, this time the new one from Travis. Now, undoubtedly, one of the big questions of recent times, along with other cosmic events like Whither the Beckhams, is did my next guest have a facelift? That's what happens when you appear on the telly. You know, it's Fraser on The Weakest Link. She's demonstrated she's armour-plated. If she came face-to-face with Vin Diesel, my money will be on the redhead. Ladies and gentlemen, Anne Robinson. Oh, I see. Preempting the question, doing the bit, she says, eh? Ah. Is that what you reckon? I reckon you've got a bit of a...
I don't know. You do look quite good. How old are you?
Old enough. Listen, all right, tell me. I mean, when we signed up to be journalists all those years ago, did you ever imagine that you and I would be sitting here and the first question is, tell me about your facelift?
That's very funny. I was actually... The funny thing is, I was always rotten on doorsteps. You know, as a young journalist, they send you out and there's really horrible jobs where you knock on the door and you have to ask really impertinent, awful questions. So it was very funny in the last few weeks, just being there and seeing people.
You were the story. They were doorstepping you. Yeah. You went down and there were the hacks, fellow hacks, and...
Well, we've got, because we're very posh now, we've got CCTV cameras and the lock gate, you see, so you could actually see them lining up in the drive outside. And what I thought was funny, because they're all coming to ask me about my facelift, and all you could see from the screen was these guys smoking, chain smoking, great big bellies going off to the pub, you know, a total picture of neglect. And then they're coming to me to say, what a dreadful thing, you've had a facelift.
Do you think people think it's a dreadful thing? Do you think it's a taboo?
It appears to be a subject that's not out in the open here, and I thought it was I feel great, and I think it's lovely that you can improve things a bit if you're female when you're nearly 60. I'm 60 this year. But on the other hand...
Now, what's interesting there, you get a reaction there, the majority of women, I suppose, applauding that, and yet the sisterhood in Fleet Street, I mean, what a plastic Doris Day, somebody called it.
Well, I don't mind. I mean, I used to be a Wednesday witch, which was...
Is that what they are?
Yeah, it was a lovely phrase of the late Princess of Wales that she called the columnists on a Wednesday witches. Yes. And, but on the whole, you know, everybody's been very supportive, and I write a column in the Telegraph, and I think one of the things I've always been really keen on is to be honest about whatever happens. I don't think the Wednesday witches actually reveal anything of themselves. So it was never going to be something I'd keep quiet about. I'm thrilled. And also, it's terribly unfair to women on television to look like we do and to have everybody at home think, oh, what's wrong with me? I don't look like that. I mean, an awful lot of money's gone into this. Thousands, Parky. You know, I hardly eat anything these days. I've got this fantastic new diet, which is to put very little in your mouth. so I've lost about a stone.
Right. Well, you do look very good. Do you like your new face?
I love my new face. I mean, I think that it's just a bit tighter here. What happened originally was, when I did Watchdog, which was a live programme, we had wonderful lighting on it, but there's a point at the end where I'd have to move to the desk to close the programme. And I used to look at the video afterwards, and I'd realised when I looked back it was my mother saying good night and thank you for watching Watchdog. Because I looked, you know, quite rough. So I had the first nip and tuck in 1996.
Oh, did you?
I did indeed, and nobody noticed.
That went
well, I think it's quite clever to have it. I was still in my 40s that you don't notice.
I see.
And then I thought it was time again. And I said to the surgeon, can you have a third facelift? And he said, depends who did the first and second. So the only thing when I wrote about in the Telegraph was women readers saying, what's the name of the surgeon? Does it hurt and how much?
And the answer is?
The answer is the best part of 10 grand. I haven't seen my surgeon since, so I don't want to give his name, and it hardly hurts at all.
What's your husband's reaction to this?
Well, I think the first time, you know, the trouble with husbands is they like you to be absolutely natural. They want us with long hair. They don't like any makeup, because as they get older, they really want their mother. and so they can fancy all these women with low cut, but they actually want you at home. And he was very disappointed because he has this dream that as we got older, we'd go on golden ponds like Catherine Hepburn and Spencer Tracy. And I kept saying to him, the trouble is, most of us women, as we get old, we don't look like Catherine Hepburn. We look like Peggy Mount or Dot Cotton. So, you know, it's necessary. I mean, he was quite worried. He kept saying this time round, will I ever get you back?
Do you think that you would have actually had the facelift had you not been on television?
Would I have had it? I'm not sure. I think the pressure to be my age and look good on television is on, you know, but I suppose I just feel terrific.
It's certainly more incumbent upon women than men. They feel that pressure much more, and I think that is
I mean, how many women of your age do you know who've got a chat show, Parky?
Not many.
No, there you go, you see.
But that's not about having a facelift, is it?
No, but I mean, if I looked... this is said in the nicest possible way, but if I looked like you at 69, I would not.
You know you love me, really. You wouldn't have me any other way. I mean, I suppose that we all sort of think about, you know, what might happen if we made ourselves look younger. But I think in men, basically, they settle for what they've got because, basically, you know, what they've got is acceptable.
And also, you guys, it's a funny thing, but you look better and better often as you get older. In America, for example, it's so acceptable there. It's very, very different. Yes. And it hasn't happened quite here. But I hope, in my small, tiny way, I might have encouraged it to be a subject that you can talk about. I mean, how many women have been on here? You ask a lot of sort of searing questions of women. You say, are they going to get married? Are they going to have babies? But you never... When have you ever said to someone, have you had a facelift?
I haven't, because I think that's maybe a sensitive area and a personal one that I don't want to get involved in.
But it's quite sensitive to say to Kylie or someone, are you going to have children?
Well, that's all right, because...
Why? What's the difference?
Because women do have children. Men and women have children.
Parky, women have facelifts.
I know they do, but a lot of women are very sensitive. Yeah. I mean, it's not us that I'm being strange about that, it's that you are being strange in the sense that you've come out and in the open and said it. I mean, that's the confession is what's remarkable about this story. That most people, if you ask them, they get terribly offended. For instance, I mean, I've sat opposite many women, and I've looked at them and thought, well, and I don't know, I won't ask them, in case I embarrass them, basically. And I can think of one or two American stars when I had on recently who would actually have really flounced off if I'd have asked her.
Yeah.
By the way, you have more than a passing resemblance to her now.
To who?
Meg Ryan.
Your baby. The other thing was, I think, to be on the end of the press suddenly saying, have you had a facelift, it seemed terribly important to actually take my power back, and you're still laughing about Meg Ryan. I'm not. A little joke for you.
No, I'm not laughing at that. I'm laughing at what you're saying. You're right. I mean, what you've done is you've actually stopped all the speculation.
Well, I think...
Here I am, so that's it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I think it was Socrates, but it might have been Des O'Connor who said, you're only as sick as your secrets. And in a way, there's nothing else. So it's been a terrific bit of fun.
Now, what about your daughter? What did she make of all this?
Well, she's very supportive. I mean, she thought it was a great idea. She's kind of sort of anything goes. She was much less sharp intakes of breath than Penrose. But then we've just had this sort of rite of passage where we've had this holiday, this filmed jaunt in America.
In America, yes. Was that a good idea?
Well, she thought it was a terrific idea, and I think I did on paper, and I had no idea that I can't do basic anymore. I mean, I'm really just happy at a Ritz-Carlton.
Well, let's have a look, actually, at a sequence from this trip you made with your daughter in America. You're in the car here, travelling in between towns. Let's have a look.
One of the things about drink 30 years ago was that no one had the foggiest idea how to deal with it. And the hardest part for me was after, I mean, the devastation of
having failed at my marriage and now, as far as the world was concerned, failed at motherhood because...
Yeah, well, the only person who really feels that is you. I mean, you know, you'll forever tell me that when I say I had a great childhood is that I didn't, I just don't realise it yet.
Well, I suppose you weren't sitting where I was sitting, which was only seeing you every other weekend and half the holidays and...
See, my memories are, I don't have, you obviously did a really good job because I don't have a missing mother complex.
No, that's wonderful.
Well, what finally made you stop?
Well, the shame, really. The terrible, terrible shame. I remember you were in the car with me and I went to get another bottle of vodka and there were tears running down your eyes. And I had that quarter bottle of vodka and I couldn't think of anything bad that had happened to me that wasn't as a direct result of my drinking. And for the first time, logic somehow seeped through. Thank goodness from that day to this, I've never had another drink, which is more than 25 years ago. That's before the facelift.
I was going to say
That's
that...
no lighting, no makeup before the facelift.
Have you ever considered, in that momentous moment in your life you talked about there, where your child was taken away with you because you're an unfit mother, you were deemed to be that. You ever thought that maybe if that hadn't happened and you'd had custody of the child and you'd been a single parent, how different your life might have been?
Maybe I would have drunk myself into the ground. Maybe I wouldn't have been so determined to prove to the world. One of the things I learnt from that, and I didn't think to begin with we'd learnt much about each other, but one of the things I really did truthfully learn was that a lot of that worry and angst about how good I was as a mother is in my own head.
Yes.
And I think it's done a wonderful thing, because I think I've relaxed now and think, actually, like most of us, I'm a good enough mother.
You don't feel guilty anymore?
No, I think I've lost a lot of that guilt, and actually she's turned out to be, I mean, she's tremendously funny and witty and kind, and I think, well, between us, we, you know, somehow, we did a terrific job with her.
Now, let's now turn to Weakest Link, which is coming back in May time, isn't it?
Yeah, it's always... No, for those people who watch telly, Parky, it's always there.
A new series.
Every night at 5:15.
Yes.
4 million viewers every night. We never knew they existed.
Well,
but the great thing is that it gets everybody.
I mean, there's now a new sort of a cult thing around it, isn't it, too? That's the stupid answers that are given to the questions. There's they fill that column in Private Eye, and there's now quizzes now, which is the daftest question ever. We've done a little compilation here. Have a look at this, because there's one or two gems here.
What is the full first name of presenter Dec of Ant and Dec fame?
Anthony.
Declan. TV, which member of the royal family appeared on the 200th edition of A Question of Sport?
Ricky Tomlinson?
In science of what is botany, the study?
Bottoms.
In geography, the river Danube is in which continent?
France.
Europe. What G is the branch of medicine that deals with the disorders and diseases associated with old age?
Gynecology.
Geriatrics. When contenders throw the discus, what do they do to the shot?
Shot it.
Complete the name of Madonna's concert tour in 1990. Blonde what?
Tart.
Ambition.
Oh, do they have to pass a test before you go?
We had actually one. We had one on the other day. He was. He's got a master's degree, and I said to him, "Who's the editor of Private Eye?" He said, "Gary Lineker."
Master's degree in what? So, all right. So, one final question, I suppose. I mean, does any more surgery? I mean, does it stop here?
Well, I just want to say to everybody, if you can do it, if you want to do it, do it. I mean, I don't ski down slopes and nearly kill myself, or do a lot of other... I don't go hunting. I don't do a lot of things which are life-threatening. I don't drink, sadly, anymore. I don't smoke. So why not? I mean, anything in this entire world that makes us women feel better, we've got to go for. That's all I'd say.
Anne Robinson, thank you very much indeed. Anne Robinson.